From now until the end of July, all WagerTalk and SportsMemo customers can load as many as 3 and 7-day all-access passes as they want into their shopping cart and take 60% off using coupon code CART60. This coupon code can be used only once at WagerTalk and once at SportsMemo, but there is no limit to the amount of 3 and 7-day all-access passes you can load into your cart when redeeming. Every handicapper is eligible, so take advantage of the biggest discount we have ever offered. And don't forget, coupon code CART60 can only be used once per site and expires when the clock strikes midnight on July 31st.
Happy Thursday, guys. Welcome to another edition of Stoppage Time. I am Carmine Bianco of WagerTalk.com. Today with me are Pavlos Laguretos of SportsMemo and Nick Borrman of WagerTalk.com. Kevin Dolan returns next week, where we start with our Euro previews, and I can't wait for all those European leagues to kick back off again. August 13th are the first games, so we're 22 days away from that happening, and we're definitely looking forward to it. We'll have some preview shows with some future bets and prop bets that you can get in before the seasons start. We're going to do MLS today. 3 games on tap, Saturday and Sunday games. We're going to start with FC Dallas, Los Angeles Galaxy, which goes on Saturday. Then a couple Sunday games, New York City and Orlando City, a big one in the East. And then Seattle and Sporting KC also on Sunday, another big one that can determine, or it's going to have a lot to say about the top spot in the West. A very good Seattle Sounders team back home. They're in action actually tonight. Nick, tell me what's going on.
Coming off a good night last night in MLS, went 4-2, hit the 5% winner on Nashville, catching a quarter of a goal on the road. So I was happy about that. That was my second 5% of the MLS season. So far 2-0. Hopefully we can continue that. And looking forward to talking a little more MLS for the weekend. And yeah, I can't wait for the European leagues to return in just a few weeks' time. Doing a lot of research and spending a lot of time right now trying to, see who's going to be what this year. I mean, just trying to figure out any transfers as they're going through, which stops here soon, and then be on our way for hopefully another good season.
Yeah, I started with a lot of loading up a lot of future bets for those more team-based ones instead of player-based ones, because we still have to see what the transfer market holds. But hopefully over the next couple of weeks that should shake down. We'll see if there's any big player moves. Obviously, the biggest one I think we're waiting on is likely in the Premier League with Harry Kane, and whether he makes a move to the most likely of spots, which is going to be Manchester City, as they look to replace Aguero there. Pavlos, how you doing, my friend? What's going on?
Yeah, doing great. I had a winner last night with Colorado, and a loser with I had New England to win by 1 goal, and they ended up winning by 5. So that was a miscue on my behalf, but we still made a tiny slit, of profit with the Colorado win. And I have a package up for today, and I'm still researching the matches for this weekend, and I tell you, it's going to be exciting, especially in the MLS.
Awesome. Yeah, there's still plenty of football going on. You know what I mean? We've got obviously the MLS, a couple games tonight, and then a full slate on Saturday and Sunday. We've got the Gold Cup quarterfinals Saturday and Sunday as well too. And then of course, the Olympics are going on. There was a slew of games this morning, Thursday morning, with some very interesting results. Nick and Pavlos will tell you yesterday before or Tuesday before the show, I was joking about, Richarlison and Brazil and sort of not liking the squad they're putting out there. And then he scores 3 goals in the first 25 minutes of the game today, literally telling me to hold my beer on that one. But with that said, let's get to the MLS games tonight. First one, the MLS games for the show. First game up, FC Dallas, Los Angeles Galaxy. The line on this one, Dallas minus 106 at home. The draw is plus 275. The Galaxy, LA Galaxy, are plus 250, and the total here is 3. Nick, I'm going to go to you first on this one. Dallas comes off a 2-0 loss yesterday. The the third time this season that they faced a Colorado team and have yet to find the back of the net. They're going home now, and they could really use one. Give me your thoughts on this game.
Yeah, I was on the other side of that Pavlos win last night. One of my losses was on Dallas plus 1 goal. And I think, they played well enough to cover that number. But they ended up losing 2-0. They gave up 2 quick goals in the beginning of that second half. So, it's they at least they get a return home here for this game, which I'll get to in a second about why that's a good thing. Then you got the LA Galaxy, who this is their back-to-back, second back-to-back road game. They came back, nice comeback last night. They were down 2-0 against Real Salt Lake and came back and earned a draw in that match. Quick look at the standings. You're going to see Galaxy number 3 in the West, 8 wins, 1 draw, 5 losses, plus 1 goal differential. While Dallas is dead last, 13th in the table, 2 wins, 5 draws, 7 losses, and a -9 goal differential. Then you look at the line here and you see Dallas is favored by half a goal. Seems odd, but I'll preface this and say Dallas has a huge home-away split this season. They lost all 7 games on the road and have scored just 2 goals in that process, 2 goals in 7 games. But at home, they're unbeaten. However, unbeaten doesn't mean that they're winning games. They have, like I said, with the record, they only have 2 wins, but they also have 5 draws. So they're 2 wins, 5 draws, 0 losses at home this year. So they're not losing at home, but they're still not winning yet either. LA Galaxy, they've been scoring goals all year. They got 23 in total, 11 on the road, which is actually the most in the Western Conference. But they're still conceding too many, and that's been their problem for several years now. But 22 in total and 14 on the road is what they've given up. Both teams are in the negative in terms of expected goals. I like to talk about expected goals. Dallas is averaging 1.36 expected goals for and 1.56 expected goals allowed, while the Galaxy average 1.54 expected goals for and 1.69 expected goals allowed. So 2 teams on those metrics behind the results are very, very similar. Dallas, again, they're better at home. They're getting better results at home anyway, but they're still not winning games. And the Galaxy so far have proven that, to me, that they are able to, get results. And again, last night, even falling down 2-0, they were able to come back and get that draw. So I think they're very evenly matched. And in that sense, I'm just going to play it simple and take the half a goal on LA Galaxy. I think they can at least earn a draw here. I just don't see Dallas running away with anything. So I like that value right now, half a goal on the Galaxy on the road here.
Yeah, and it's likely not a bad way to go. Listen, Dallas has played, and I go to Pavlos next on this one because he loves these exact scores. But Dallas, their home games have come against some very good teams. You know what I mean? Obviously, Portland, Colorado's playing extremely well. Games against the New York Rev, who I think top the East. Even Vancouver's playing well. Minnesota, Real Salt Lake. So, but they seem to have the problem going to switching over to Europe that Man United had one year where every game at home seemed like it was a draw. 5 draws at home, and they're all by these 1-1 and 2-2 score lines. And Pavlos, I know you love exact scores. Give me your thoughts on this one and the fact that the Galaxy haven't had a good time traveling to Dallas. You have to go back to 2015 to find their last time they traveled to Dallas and came away with full points. And those were back in the days of Kevin Dolan's favorite player, Robbie Keane, scoring a couple of goals in that 2-1 win. And that was 6+ years ago.
Yeah, it's true. Dallas, they've been great as host against the Galaxy. They have 7 wins, just done that 1 loss and 1 draw in the last 9. They've won their last 4 matches as host against the Galaxy. And the Galaxy, they've struggled a bit on the road this season. They have 3 wins, 3 losses and 1 draw, which is still good enough for the second best away record in the conference. However, they haven't kept a single clean sheet on the road. They've conceded in all their matches on the road. They conceded multiple goals in 5 of their 7 matches on the road. They've only failed to score twice, so both teams scored in 5 of their 7 away matches so far in the season. And looking at Dallas, it's something similar. They've only kept a single clean sheet at home in 7 matches. Each of their last 6 matches had goals from both sides. So I would expect both teams to score here, but the odds are just horrible on that to happen. So I'm looking at the over 3 goals here. At least in my perspective, worst case scenario, this is a push because I project Dallas to win by 2-1 correct scoreline. The 2-2 draw, of course, is also something to look at with Dallas already having 2 draws with the same 2-2 correct scoreline. And the LA Galaxy last night, they had a 2-2 draw against Real Salt Lake in a match where they came back from 2 goals behind. So the Galaxy are scoring a lot of goals this season. They might have the second worst defense in the conference with 22 conceded goals, and Dallas have the worst, the second worst defense with 23 goals conceded. So we have 2 very bad defenses. Of course, Dallas, they're traditionally good at home. In the last 2 seasons, they've only lost 1 match at home. They have 9 wins, 9 draws, and just 1 loss. I think it was to Cincinnati last season. But anyway, they're very good at home. They're terrible on the road. That's why I faded them last night with at Colorado. So the way I look at this is goals here. The over 3 the over 3 goals goes at -110-ish or something like that, and I like it. I think we'll see goals from both sides, and this match starts from 1-1 and then goes upwards. So what I like, the over 3 goals, the 2-1 correct scoreline for Dallas at plus 800, and the 2-2 draw at let me check here at plus 1100. Yep.
You took away my my odds. I was going to give you the prices: 2-1 plus 800, 1-1 draw. Which if we look at those 5 draws in 7 games at home for FC Dallas, either finishing 1-1 or 2-2, plus 650 on the 1-1. And plus 1100 on the 2-2, as Pavlos mentioned. So those are a couple. If you're a props guy and you like exact scores, those are a couple props that you can take a shot on. All right, guys, let's move over to a Sunday game. New York City and Orlando City. New York minus 134 here. The draw is plus 280. Orlando City, a juicy plus 350. And the total here is 3. New York comes off a win 1-0 over Montreal, and Orlando were in Toronto and picked up a 1-1 draw last time out. Nick, I'm going to go right back to you on this one here. New York, a favorite here. Orlando's getting a 3/4 of a goal, I think. Half a goal, 3/4 of a goal. Thoughts on this one?
So I made my notes last night. The lines weren't out yet, but I'll read my opening line, which is, line is not out for this game yet until after Orlando plays tonight, but they did put it out today. But this should be a very good game, and I believe the line's going to come out New York City minus 120 to minus 140 favorites. So I'll read my note, the rest of them I write up as is, because it looks like I got that right on the money. New York City, second in the league in expected goal differential this year, plus 0.86 per game. They lead the league in expected goals allowed, just 0.92 per game, and they're one of only 3 teams that are averaging less than 1 expected goal allowed per game. Orlando sits 2 points higher in the table than New York City. They have 6 wins, 4 draws, 3 losses, and a good plus 8 goal differential. However, where the line is, clearly the bookmakers don't think they're the better team, and when comparing their actual results to their expected goal numbers, Orlando's outperforming expected goals so far this season by quite a bit, and I do expect at some point we're going to see some regression from them, especially on the defensive side. They've allowed exactly 1 goal per game, 13 goals in 13 games so far this year, but they've allowed 1.24 expected goals, and over their last 10 games, that's even higher at 1.38. Doesn't sound like a lot, but those numbers do tend to work towards those expected goal numbers over the course of the season. Doesn't mean it'll necessarily happen in this game, but I do believe that their defense isn't quite as good as it looks right now if you just look at their actual scores allowed. They're also performing on the offensive side, overperforming on the offensive side by a lesser margin, around 0.2 goals right now. But combined, they're exceeding their expected goal differential by more than a half a goal. And to me, that's alarming and unsustainable over the course of the season. And again, it doesn't mean nothing, it's going to happen in this match, but it's something I'm going to try to pick spots against them to fade until those numbers start to kind of correct themselves. Conversely, New York City, I mentioned how good their expected goal numbers are, but I also mentioned that they're behind Orlando in the standings, and a big reason for that is they're underperforming all of their expected goal metrics so far by nearly a half a goal themselves, and I think it's a big reason why we're seeing this line where it is right now, New York City being, decent sized favorites. So I like New York City, anything up to about minus 140 on the money line or on the 3/4 line up to about minus 125. They're very good at Yankee Stadium, and I do think they can get the win here in this match.
Yeah, I tend to agree. Pavlos, I'm going to go to you next on this one. My voice today is a little raspy. You'll have to bear with me, guys. I was at the MLS game last night, Toronto FC at home and against the New York Red Bulls. And I did a lot of yelling. Basically, most of it was because I was dissatisfied with what I was watching on the field yesterday. It's kind of tough to go from watching 51 some odd Euro games that are played with a good flow to them to watching a game where there was absolutely no flow to it. So you have to excuse my voice today. Pavlos, give me your thoughts on this one.
Yeah, I'm looking at both teams to score here again. The price is not great, but let me elaborate. New York City, they've only kept 4 clean sheets this season. Both teams scored in 9 of their 13 matches so far. While when you look at Orlando City, on the road, they played 7 matches. 6 of their 7 away matches have had goals from both sides. And 4 of those also had over 2.5 goals. Now, when these two teams meet, they've already met once this season, which was a 1-1 draw. 6 of the last 7 matches between the two sides. Now, actually, let me rephrase that. Each of the last 7 matches between the two sides had goals from both sides. Both teams scored in each of the last 7. 6 of those were draws, and 5 of those draws were 1-1 draws. So I'm definitely taking the 1-1 draw at plus 650 here, and the 2-2 with a smaller stake bet at plus 1200. I mean, that's an insane stat. We might not even see a draw, but when you look at teams that play like this, especially when I look at them, I'm jumping on the correct scores that keep repeating in this in head-to-heads like this. So I'm not sure it's gonna be an over because the match might as well stay at 1-1. So I'm not gonna bet on the over, because sometimes when you say, okay, this match starts from both teams to score, it starts at 1-1. So why not take the over at plus money? Sometimes that's a trap. So I'd rather take the lower stake bet, the lower odds at the both teams to score. But the way I look at this, I'm gonna put it in a parlay or a round robin with the 1-1 correct score, and I'm gonna also play it as a single. That's a good way to play correct scores. You pick 2 or 3 correct scores from each match. You put an equal stake bet on it, and if any of those hits, you get a massive return. So the way I look at this, it's both teams to score. I'm not sure if it's going to be an over. I'm not going to bet on the sides because there's a long history of draws between the two sides. So go 1-1.
All right, go 1-1 plus 650. Not bad odds on that one. I'm not sure if there's a ton of goals in this one, and if that total gets anywhere close to 2.75 or 3, I think I'm just going to take the under in that game. That's probably the way I'm looking at it. All right, final game in this segment. Also another Sunday game. This one is a Big West confrontation. Pavlos is going to love this one, so I'm going to go to him first on this one. Seattle Sounders, Sporting KC. Seattle plus 125 at home. The draw is plus 240. Kansas City plus 210, and the total is 2.75, which is a split line of 2.5 and 3. Again, explaining that split line one more time. If you're putting $100 on 2.75, half of your bet, 50 is on the 2.5. The other half is on 3.0. So whether you're taking over or under, those are your 2 bets when you're taking a split line of 2 points or a line of 2.75. Pavlos, you're a Seattle Sounders diehard fan. They're in action tonight against Austin FC. Give us your thoughts on this game.
Yeah, this is a massive battle at the top of the Western Conference. It's first, mid, second. The Sounders, they're coming off their first loss of the season. They lost to Minnesota by 1-0. were actually pretty good in the first half, especially compared to Minnesota, who didn't have a single shot on target. But they seriously fell off in the second half, and they eventually conceded the only goal of the match at the 81st minute in what was Minnesota's one of two total shots on target. So that was a bit frustrating for me, and of course for the Seattle players. But they're still doing a great job. They're still unbeaten at home. They have 5 wins, 3 draws, and no losses. They've scored 16 goals, and they've only conceded 4, which is by far, which is actually the second best defense, because Austin have only conceded 3, but they've played half the matches. They've only played 4 matches, while Seattle have played 8 matches. So that was just the second time Seattle failed to score this season. They have by far the best defense with just 9 conceded goals. Only 6 of their 14 matches had over 2.5 goals, with an average of just 2.3 goals per match. And at home, they've been great. They've kept 5 clean sheets so far. They've only conceded in 3 goals, a total of in 3 matches, a total of 4 goals. So they're doing great. So now let's take a look at Kansas City. They're coming off a 1-1 draw against San Jose. It was a pretty anxious match because they pulled even deep into the stoppage time. I think it was in the 4th or 5th minute of stoppage time. They salvaged a draw, and they kept their unbeaten streak alive. They're now unbeaten in the last 4. They have 3 wins and that 1 draw in their last 4. So they've been doing a great job. They're sitting at the second spot with 27 points. They've scored 25 goals, which is the best offense in the conference, but they've also conceded 16 goals. 9 of Kansas City's 14 matches had over 2.5 goals, with an average of 2.9 goals per match. And more importantly, they've only kept 2 clean sheets so far, with both teams scoring in 11 of their 14 matches. And on the road, they've been great, quite solid. They have the 3rd best record on the road. They have 3 wins and 3 losses. They've scored 9 goals. They've conceded 8 in the process. 4 of their 6 away matches had over 2.5 goals, and both teams to score. And they have an average of 2.8 goals per match. But I'm not so sure we'll see a very high scoring match here, even though, the 2 teams that didn't meet last season, the last time they met was back in 2019, where Kansas City, they won both matches by 3-2 and 2-3 respectively. They won both at home and on the road. So that makes each of the last 4 matches between the 2 sides, they had over 3.5 goals, and both teams to score. However, when you look at matches between the 2 sides at Seattle, only those last 2 had over 2.5 goals. The other 11, I think, the previous 10 had a maximum of 2 goals. And you look at those final scores, 1-0, 1-0, 0-1, 0-0, 1-1. So there's a lot of, when you look at the history of this matchup, you see a lot of low-scoring matches. Of course, that changed in the last couple of seasons. But long story short, I'm going to take Seattle with minus a quarter goal here. I'm also tempted by the under 2 and 3/4 goals. But the way Kansas City have been playing this season, they produced a lot of high-scoring matches, and I'm kind of scared to take the under here. I feel much more comfortable in taking Seattle with minus a quarter goal. They've been excellent at home this season. Last season, I think they only lost 1 or 2 matches at home against Portland and the LAFC. While Sporting this season, they've already lost 3 times to Portland, Houston, and Real Salt Lake, all very good teams at home especially. So yeah, I think the Sounders will win this one and create an even bigger gap from Sporting Kansas City for the top spot of the Western Conference.
All right. Pavlos likes the Sounders. Nick, I'm not sure where to go here. I wish I was getting a half goal with KC, because I'd probably take it. If I get a full half, you're getting a quarter goal right now. 2 teams, I think, that are evenly matched. And when you get a couple teams at the top of the standings, we tend to see much tighter, much closer games, which leads me to think that you can give me maybe the XG numbers on this, that we would see a lower scoring game. KC gets a lot of their scoring from Daniel Saloy, and he's got, I think, 8 this season, but 6 of those 8 goals have come at home. He's much better at home at finding the back of the net than he is on away from home. Thoughts on this one?
I wish it was me saying this to Kevin, but I disagree with Pavlos on this one. And I agree with you, Carm, as far as taking plus goals here. I do wish it was a little higher, but this should be a really good game between two of the biggest contenders in my mind for the MLS Cup this year, especially the West. Possible Western Conference final or at least semifinal meeting, I think, here as well. Kansas City, number 4 in expected goal differential so far this year at plus 0.71 per game, while Seattle's number 6 at plus 0.49. Kansas City failed to beat San Jose last night despite outshooting San Jose 18-13 with 8 on target to only 3 for the Quakes. They also generated 2.02 expected goals, while San Jose had just 1.21. So probably a little unfortunate there not to walk away with 3 points. Seattle, of course, they play tonight at Austin, and the line is moving against them. They were getting a quarter of a goal last night. They're now getting a half a goal as of 10:30 a.m. Eastern time this morning. And this match to me, the reason I think you're seeing the line move against Seattle, the reason I'm saying to take Kansas City in this game is, Seattle's dealing with a lot of injuries. They have both Roldan brothers out for Gold Cup duties, and I think that showed a lot in their last game. Their first loss of the year at Minnesota, they didn't look good at all. They managed just 9 shots in the game, just 0.39 expected goals generated in that match while allowing 1.63 to Minnesota. Their defense has been very good on the year. They've allowed just 0.64 goals per game, but their expected goal numbers are at 1.13 expected goals. So I talked in the last match about, Orlando overperforming quite a bit, and Seattle on the defensive side has significantly overperformed, and at some point they're going to start conceding a little bit more. And the team that I'm scared for them to play with those numbers in mind is Kansas City. Kansas City are the number 1 offensive team in the league according to expected goals. They're the only team averaging more than 2 expected goals per game. They average 2.02. And this one's pretty simple. It's just you got Seattle missing some guys, not really generating a lot of offense right now. Their defense isn't as good as it appears on paper. At least by results, and Kansas City is very good offensively. They're not really having any negative effect here with international duties. So I like the plus goals. You're right, Carm. I think it would be nice to get plus a half a goal, but then I would really be betting it big. But I like plus a quarter of a goal here. I think it might move closer to a pick 'em by the time this game goes off. Probably depends on what happens in tonight's game with Seattle. But I like Kansas City catching a plus quarter of a goal on the road here in this one. I think they can at least earn a draw.
Yeah, and like you said, Seattle is in action tonight. So obviously 1 day less rest with a lineup that is missing some players as well too. So something to take into consideration. And as you mentioned, Nick, that 1-1 score line, it is the lowest price out there at plus 550. So something to look at. Obviously, Pavlos Laguretos, Sports Memo, Nick Borrman, with some great XG numbers. And this coming season, guys, once the European season start, I'm going to have a feature on the show called the XG Game of the Week. And Nick will come in and talk about a play in one of the leagues that has quite possibly the best XG number, whether you want to take an over or under on that game. So it's something to look forward to or aside on that game as well too. Guys, next week, Tuesday show, we're going to cover the Gold Cup semifinals, and then we're also going to do a preview and future show. That'll be show number 1. And then the following week, we'll do the exact same thing. And then we're ready for the new European season. So we'll have some great promos up next week. Best of luck with your plays, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Hit that like button, and we'll see you on Tuesday.
How much do you want to pay for the NFL and college football season? You decide how much you want to save. Right now, WagerTalk is offering their lowest price for the 2021 NFL and college football seasons. From now through the start of the regular season, we are offering special early bird pricing, but these prices will increase by $20 per sport and $30 for the college football and NFL combo every week until the season kicks off. Save up to $200 this week by buying your favorite WagerTalk capper for the package, and remember, the longer you wait, the less you save.